Not going to be it. We're not going to be it. No.
It's a big welcome, everyone, to Southport Sharks here. Beautiful Saturday up on the Gold Coast. Harvey Silver, joined by Braden Jinks here as we come back a little unexpectedly on a Saturday afternoon to see the end of this tournament, which we thought was going to finish last night, but about probably by 8 p.m. was pretty apparent it wasn't going to finish. It's the Goliath here at the Australian Poker Tour. It's our 2.5K buy-in event. We stopped last night with 6 left on the final table. And very good afternoon to you, Braden. Hope you slept well. We, like the players, got our 12-hour break.
If this didn't start at 12:30, I think I'd still be in bed. It was a
You and
very
me
big
both.
day. It was a very big day yesterday. Loved calling the action, but took a lot out of us. I think it was always apparent, even with the introduction of our time banks, that we were coming back today pretty early.
Yes, we had and have the shot clock in operation, but even trying to speed up the play, just with the structure of the, it was probably a combination of a whole lot of things. Structure of the tournament, the level of play. Some very, very good players up here. It wasn't quite like the last couple of tournaments that we've done, where the chips are flying around everywhere and there's some really interesting calls. This was a little bit more pragmatic, and we finished up with the players being given the option last night at midnight to wrap it up there and come back at midnight, or to keep going through till 2 a.m. and come back at 2 p.m. today. They couldn't really decide, so the tournament director decided on their behalf that we'll finish at 12, which of course is 12:30 for you guys. We're half an hour behind on the stream, and we're back now. We'll run you through who's left, how it looks for the 6 remaining players. The payouts are in the chat there, but in case you don't have the chat on, $45,000 up top. What a fantastic payout that is. 29 for second, 19.5 for third, 14 for fourth, 10,550 for sixth, for fifth and sixth, which will be the first player eliminated today. We'll pick up $8,700.
As Ray just turns the stone cold nuts here against Michelle. Really good way to start the day in a 2.5K, but I was chatting to a few of the players last night, and I think even a few of them wanted to keep going. They had some momentum, but after they had actually stopped, I think all 6 realised that it was the best thing to go home when they did and get some rest. Having a obviously these last 6 players, all really well known, probably except Ahmed. Tried to have a good chat to him in the morning, and within about 30 seconds, I realised he's an extremely experienced player, as Ray's going to go for all of it against Michelle, who's picked a indifferent combo to bluff here. I think, and obviously can't call this off, but good start to Ray, who's going to take himself potentially over 2 million chips here. How hard's he going to beat with this stack? But, you know, having a chat to Ahmed, he had a bit of a crack at me. He goes, "Oh, well, I thought, you know, you said a lot of complimentary things about all the other players, including Matt." And I said, "I probably said more complimentary things about you, Ahmed, than the rest of this 5 of them put together."
I agree.
And he goes, "Oh, I must have missed that." And I thought, I'm like, "I think you did." I couldn't have said many more complimentary things about his play, and you know, I think there's a few runs that he's had in big events that we don't know about.
I think it was more that. It was more the lack of knowledge about him as a player.
Yeah.
But you know now.
I do know now, and I did one comment to finish the conversation. He said, "This is all just some fun for me." So I think he's here. Maybe the 45K won't do a lot. He's here for the victory, like, you know, your Michelles and your Dippers, and he's just here for the competitive.
Well, he actually called it down. Now you're in shock. You've just you've just stopped talking because you're in absolute shock there, aren't you, that Michelle has called
So
against the
he's-
Stone Cold Nuts.
Well, I mean, that's why I thought that Michelle had picked a strange enough combo to take as a bluff, but it appears he was betting for value to call to call off there. I think, if we try and take ourselves into Michelle's mind a little bit, it's more probably maybe the fact he doesn't have a heart in his hand and he's put Ray on a stone cold bluff that contained a flush draw on the flop. But other than that, I'm in. It's a very interesting one. That is. Goodness.
Well, if that's an indication of what's ahead, we
There
could have a very fun last few hours of this. Michelle, of course, you do know well, and he was on his way a few times last night. He was the cockroach of the table last night. He was all in a number of times and well behind a couple of times when he was all in and managed to get a little bit lucky.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But all those hands were, he had to put his chips in there with the ace-9 and as well as the ace-4 and dominated both times. We had a 9 in the window when he had ace-9, and the other time he flopped the 4. So that's I think the only kind of way that I can potentially break down that hand is that he's putting Ray on a flush draw that. But in saying that, potentially we shouldn't be betting the river and just checking down our hand, and we beat those flush draws anyway. The pot is big enough, but to bet call off there is certainly something else. Look forward to chat about that hand with Michelle later. I'm stunned. It's only hand 3 or 4. I think we're up to. God.
Look, we've spoken about the type of play and the type of players, and I think you'd probably agree that Michelle is more of a feel sort of guy, and we've seen enough this week players playing very much on feel and doing incredibly well. He obviously had a feel there that
he's just got to put Ray on a flush draw.
Yeah.
His hand doesn't contain a heart. That's as kind of simple as I can break that one down. But
as you say, he thought it was the stone cold bluff, but it was the stone cold nuts.
it was the stone cold nuts. I'm not. God, there we go.
And the chat gets active already. Craig Abernathy, poker royalty here, who was actually in the commentary booth with you for a fair while last night. Morning or early afternoon to you, Craig.
Did a great job, Craig. Really tried to break down a lot of the legislative issues we've got around online poker and live poker here in Queensland, and so knowledgeable about that topic. He's assisted players no end in their battles with the casinos and other regulators, and he's also got a great website, australianpokerschedule.com.au, as well as that Facebook page. But one thing I want to point out on that website, his series timeline, I use that basically every week. If you don't know what's coming up in Australian poker, just go to that web page, and on the right hand side you'll see the series timeline drop down, and that will give you basically everything you need to know about what's coming up in Australian poker over the next couple of months.
Your good mate Lockie involved here with the ace-9 against Matthew Ginn, who only has one of the 3 queens left in the deck here as an out. In fact, I think there's only 2 queens left in that deck, so he's drawing incredibly thin.
Love this from Matty. I love it. He's realised that there's basically no 6s at all in Lockie's range, and once this flop goes check, check, we really know that, Lockie has a hand that he probably wants to show down. There's no real strength when we check on this board, and he never has a 6, so Matt's decided to bluff at this, and Krilly's made an incredible call thus far.
Yeah, there you go.
He's realised what Matty's up to. This is 2 very competent players knowing how their ranges are constructed here, and we'll see a river. Really hard for Matt to give up now after he bets the turn. Has to continue telling this story. The SPR is less than 1. Could be seen all in.
Geez, it'll be brave. Both Guys are a little short now. They're down the bottom of the chip
He's
count.
just going to give up. Check.
So very good call there on the turn from Lockie. And
maybe Matt had to continue when we bet there. We're, betting our jack for value, and also, we've got to realise our opponent's range doesn't contain a 6, and continue telling that story to jam. And a really great call from Crilly there on the turn, being able to pick up a pretty sizable pot there, but.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. We won't mention the AFL last night. Still a little bit rattled by that draw.
Reading social media last night was like basically mirroring what you said. No one had ever seen an end to the game like that with that type of free kick paid.
They do an incredible job, the umpires, as everybody, in officialdom does across sports. And we can refer it right back to here to our dealers and tourney directors. Everyone does a great job in officiating. I suppose the criticism of last night was not that the umpire made a mistake. Apparently there is a rule in there that the player is supposed to give the ball directly back to the umpire after a ball up. But I have never seen a free kick paid for that not happening, and at that crucial time in the game,
point.
right in front of goals. It's just the criticisms, the feel, the criticisms, the, just understanding the repercussions of, such a Tiggy Touchwood sort of, application of the rule. Be a lot of debate about that, and I look forward to the debate. I just, unfortunately for me, the thing is that the umpires just lose a little bit more respect. They're already teetering on the edge often, and it doesn't do themselves any favours.
Quickly, just want to come back to the hands here. Crilly's got a genuine decision versus Matty Gin with the King 5 suited. He knows Matty Gin's going to be jamming correctly from the small blind here. It's going to contain a lot of Queen X, Jack X stuff. A lot of low suited Queen X and all pairs, which some of them we're doing well against. So, that's why we see Crilly in the tank here with King 5 suited. He knows these spots so well, but he also knows that Matty Gin knows these spots well too. So, hence we're contemplating the call with the King 5 suited.
And gives it up, Lockie. Someone who you know incredibly well, Lockie.
Yeah, absolutely. We gave him a good shout out on the chat last night, and he mustn't have slept, because I think he went home and watched the whole stream, and he made a few comments regarding what our breakdown of hands, and I'm like, you played all day and went home and watched the stream as well. Like, I don't think the man sleeps. So,
it doesn't matter how tired you are. It is a hard thing to do, isn't it? To get off the table and go straight to sleep.
I find it very difficult. I really do. My brain, I put so much into the game, and when you get home late, your brain's just buzzing. Maybe I should have done this, I should have done that. I can never fall asleep straight away, but I know people that they go home, they can switch off, they're asleep in 2 minutes.
I'll tell you who I reckon does do that. That bloke right there, Michelle. I reckon he probably finishes playing and maybe has a little whiskey and goes straight to bed, because he doesn't strike me as a bloke who's going to be playing hands over and over in his head.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as we found out from our good mate in the chat, great Australian poker player, Didier Guerin, that, we called Michelle this field player and extremely aggressive natured player, but we did find out from Didier that Michelle back in 2012 won the Sunday warm-up on PokerStars' second top-tier premier event behind the Sunday Million, and you just have to be a star basically to take one of those Sunday majors out, and Michelle did that back in 2012. So even though we think he's a field player, he's secretly an online whiz kid too.
Another very good poker brain has joined us there in the chat, Mike Maddox, asking us who we're tipping to win. I think probably more importantly, who does Mike tip to win? I think you're probably right, though. With this stack, Ray is going to be very hard to beat from here, I would have thought.
Definitely, but you're as competent as Ray is. with Tom Maguire on his left, I definitely think at this stage I'd be surprised if we didn't see Tom and Ray in the top 3. But you know, I definitely think Tom's one of the top 5 players in Australia at the moment, and I can't not see Tom and Ray making a run. My tip from here would be Tom. I think. You know, I'd love to see Matty Ginn win, but I think that Tom's just going to be so tough to beat, and he's going to be targeting those trips from Ray. And as much as we love Ray, he's just so aggressive. You always think you're potentially a chance to get a huge chunk of Ray's chips at any time, and but that's going to be my pick from here. Tom Maguire, as fellow commentator Jordan Bromley chimes in with a bit of heat. I'm apologising. I didn't mean to say Phil player. Michelle is a feel player. I don't mind that from you, Jordan. Thank you.
That's good. Bit of Modern Family humour, that is. I don't know if you watch Modern Family with Sofia Vergara. She calls Phil Feel all the time, and every time she says feel, he has a feel. He goes, not feel, feel. Lucky picks up a minimum chips, unfortunately, there with the aces for him.
I'm quite vocal in the chat when Jordan's on commentary too, so he's just reciprocating the good feelings and vibes in the chat. Thanks, Jordan.
It's already pretty busy out there on the floor coming in this afternoon.
And you will, if you do come in, you will see Jordan Bromley's photo right smack bang in the middle of the room, previous winner of the APT main event.
One of the great things they do here is a little bit like the WSOP in Vegas. The former winners have their banners hanging in the room.
They love it too. Everyone that's got that photo up there loves it. I know Charles Sy, a good mate of mine, who's currently deep in the mini-main event. His photo's up at every APT series. It's a way in which your fellow mates can give you a bit of a jive, but...
Well, here we go. Matty's pushed all in with a King Jack suited. Ray with the 9s. And with over 2.5 million chips here.
I mean, we're always calling this jam versus Matty, but...
He has gone for a time chip. So, of course, we're on the shot clock, so the players do have these time chips that they can extend their time to just think about it a little longer. He's decided to fold. I'm shocked by that, but there you go.
Maybe he got some type of read from Tom on his left.
That's quite amazing, isn't it? And that made Tom's decision, I think, a lot easier. I can't see Tom folding here.
No, Tom's never folding. Let's just... I did say that about Ray as well, but, I mean, this is obviously a hand we're always going with if we're Tom. But, you know, Ray must have picked something up there. We're looking at 11 big blind jam from Matty Ginn, and 9's performed so well versus that range. Maybe picked up some type of tell there from the Kazakhstani local on the button, but...
Kazakhstani local.
You know that,
and, of course, he does call. Ahmed is out with the Queen 8, so... Matty Ginn, who a couple of minutes ago you just said, I'd love to see him win it. He is now at serious risk. He is behind going into the flop. Going to need to see some diamonds or king, a jack, some type of straight draw.
All right, players, we do have an all-in call on the Goliath final table.
Queen.
We got Tom's Ace Queen versus Ginny's King Jack of Diamonds.
The voice of the Australian Poker Tour in the background there.
Yes, Brian Wing, great experience, TD.
Second half, 10 of spades.
It's about as bad a flop as it gets for the King Jack. He's got one diamond.
Turns to 8 o'clock.
Turns a few extra outs here. We know that 2 of those 9s are folded because Ray Wang put those 9s into the muck, so 7 outs once for Matty.
He doesn't get anything that helps him at all, and we lose our first player today. It is Matt Ginn. Again, played great all the way through this event.
The position is tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Picks up $8,700 for his 5th place finish.
I know Matt Ginn. He's not shoving 7s or below.
I did notice something that I've seen
In my position.
a little bit of throughout this, and that's what a nice guy Tom is.
Oh, he's one of the greats.
He got up, he's walked all the way around the table, all the way outside the banners to shake Matty's hand.
Adam Duggan caught out.
When you read too much.
Congratulate him on his finish. Pretty easy there, Jinxie, just to nod your head and acknowledge the player, but to actually, you know, get up, walk all the way around the table and shake his hand. I mean, that's what we want to see. These guys are playing very, very hard on the felt, but it's very much a all-embracing community off the felt here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom's just such a lovely guy. And as we said yesterday, probably his last tournament in Australia until he jets off to Vegas. Just want to go back to that fold from Ray. Really interesting. Would love to get Ray's thoughts on that hand. Do perform so well against Matty's jam, but you know, obviously he's going to have his reasons there for bidding that. Would have been interesting if he just calls and you know, obviously he's just going to always re-jam, I think, at effective stacks behind. We're about 28 bigs, but especially with Tom, had about 1.1, I believe. But it'd be interesting to see if he calls there and what he does versus Tom's jam, or if Tom even jams. It's that call from Ray, such a sign of strength. Really interesting spot to see Ray bin that, but didn't matter. No matter what hand Matty Ginn was up against, he'd lose to both. With 9s making it straight there on the river, so GG's Matty.
And again, if Ray does call, he would have taken that pot.
See 4 and 5 fold.
So ultimately, we lose a player. Tom picks up some good chips there. A dangerous player who just became even more dangerous. There is the chip count. Tom closing in on 2 million chips. Ray still up the top there with 2.675. Michelle getting a little short here now with 300K. Be hoping to see something in front of him pretty soon. We want to have too many more hands of orbits to have to find something that he can try and double up. It's not going to do it for him under the gun there. Jack 6. Yes, it is. Well, there you go. He pushes all in under the gun. Jack 6 suited. Ahmed with exactly the same hand.
2.
Folds. And Ray folds. And Tom's got the King 6.
Michelle. But calling off the ace 10 there, and now this Jack 6 suited jam under the gun.
And
I think too, he knows he's got to put the 40k in next hand, so he's down to 220.
Yep.
Still doesn't make it an all-in. Don't get me wrong, but you know, a lot of players will think that I've got to put in a certain percentage of my stack in the next 10 anyway. I might as well rip in whatever equity I've got under the gun. I see it quite a lot, but
Still got to have some respect.
Michelle having a good chuckle might have mentioned to Tom what he had there, but you know, what about the difference in table demeanour from this table to the last 4 days we've had? I know we've had Dipper taking up a lot of airtime, but you know, and such a character he is. But here with mostly, you know, professionals and really strong recreationals at our table, It's been a very silent, willing contest.
And it's not just because it's early afternoon. It was that way last night as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to definitely see something happen here. Jinxie, Ahmed raising, and then Lockie looking down at tens.
This is all over for Crilly. There's just no way he gets away from this first Ahmed's open. You know, he's going to know that Ahmed had really good opens from early position late last night. I know he did watch the stream. We saw Ahmed, you know, he's got the ace-3 suited here, queen-9 suited. Unfortunately, this occasion he's got Jackson. Crilly has a jam in which I don't think he's ever going to be able to get away from. Go over hands with Crilly so often, and I just intuitively feel that this is always going in, especially we're looking at around 14, 15 big blinds. There's no way we get away from this first Ahmed's open, and unfortunately he's drawing very thin, and here comes the all-in. He's going to be drawing so thin here.
Yep.
Michelle has a little bit of TV time before these go into the muck. Snap call from Ahmed.
Pair over pairs. It's just never what you want to look down and see.
Stone cold cooler here. So unfortunate for Crilly. 5-handed, tens over Ahmed's open. He realised late last night that, you know, Ahmed's such a competent player that we don't know much about, who played so well. He's got enough opens there to allow Crilly to jam the tens, and this is just a cooler.
All in and a call, please.
So, Lockie Crilly's tournament here on the line.
Crilly's got 10. Crilly's got 10.
Jack and 10.
A lot of love for Crilly in the chat, calling for a 10-1 time.
Pocket tens. Crilly does have pocket tens and Ahmed has pocket jacks. Pocket tens are at risk.
Our best, good luck.
So Brian letting the room know what's going on. And there's only 2 cards. Oh, there we are. Hello.
What a slow roll.
It wasn't
What a slow roll.
a 10.
This is a huge pot in the scheme of this tournament.
Crilly needs a 10. Rivers are 3 clubs. We do lose Lachlan Crilly in 5th place.
So he was coming from way behind and could not catch the jacks. So Lockie Crilly is out of the tournament. Very, very popular player here in the room, and I'm sure across the stream. Has had a really good run. And as you say, Jinxie just ran into a caller there and finds himself on the rail.
Yeah, and we saw last night that versus a under the gun limp and raise from Matty Gin that Lockie Crilly bin the 9s. You know, so so competent with ICM is Lachlan, and he just knows that there was just no getting away from that. And they're the hands you have to avoid to win tournament poker, and there was no way out of Crilly for that one. We lose him in 5th. Sorry, GG's Crilly.
And a significant pot there for Ahmed. Sort of isolates Michelle down the bottom of that chip stack a little bit. So we started back today with 6 players. We've lost 2 in pretty quick time within the first half hour of play. This is the Goliath, 2.5K buy-in, $45,000 up top of this one. We've had some really good numbers and some very, very good payouts here. Right across the week.
Don't forget, we've got, I'm not sure if we can pan across to the room, but we've got the mini main on, which had that 50k guarantee, well eclipsed. They're deep in that. About 25 left over there as well. And don't forget, we've got the 550 6 max, which starts at 1, which is 15 minutes ago, and a lot of runners, a lot of interest in the 250 poker shop. Don't forget, both of those have guarantees. The 250 poker shop 20k guarantee, and the 6 max 550 is a 25 guarantee. But No Limit Hold'em doesn't tickle your fancy. Don't forget, we've got the Heroes
Very in the middle.
at 330, that $350 buy-in. One of my most crushing defeats last series was losing heads up to Danielle Noja in stud high low. Would have loved an extra mixed game trophy there, but it's one of the most fun tournaments that I've played in, as we've got an all in and a call here. Back to the action.
How much is it?
So Michelle slightly in front.
No, not the prepay.
Pre-flop, it is his tournament life on the line.
Flops, Jack of Spades, 10.5.
The 10 comes out, as well as a Jack and a Queen. This vaults Ray into the lead. And Michelle
You're leaving.
needs a king or an 8. And he gets neither. And just like that, we lose another player.
They've dropped like flies.
Haven't they? What? 14k for Michelle, the Tyler. He, again, managed to stay alive a couple of times when he was on his way out. This time he could not survive, even though he was in front pre-flop. I think the other times he was way behind pre-flop, managed to survive. This time he is out. We're down to 3.
Yeah, it's maybe flight.
And well played, Michelle, for 14k.
More optimistic with your
Just going back to the our schedule for the day, we've got a lot on. We have yet another $120 self-dealt event, the Tornado at 2:30. But going back to that Heroes, can't recall the last time I had so much fun in a tournament. And just remember, that's all limit. Hold'em, Omaha, Raz, 08, and Stud. And if you had enough of No Limit Hold'em here this week and you can't get in the mix, you're running bad in Hold'em, definitely recommend that 350 Heroes. Oh, I had so much fun on the final table at Brisbane. You know, picking up new skills in new games, a lot of those games I hadn't played before. And if you're just looking for something a little different, head down to the Sharks at 3:30 for that for that $350 Heroes event.
10 seconds.
Don't forget too, we have our last flight of the Gold Coast Championship.
All in.
Of course, Nathaniel there
We
is.
raised all in and a call.
So all in call again.
All in and a call.
I mean, what's happened here?
This is
Blind. This is huge. This is blind versus blind.
Yeah, expect you to
Jack
snap.
10 suited versus Tom's Queens. It looks like it's gone raised, re-raised, jam all in. 4-bet jam from Ray.
Jesus.
It's a 4-bet jam from Ray, and he's
Wow.
run into the nuts of Tom, and he's drawing so thin against Tom's specific hand. This, geez, I hate to say it, whoever wins this pot might very well win the tournament. Wow, what has happened here?
Flops of King of Spades, 6 of Spades, 5 of Diamonds.
even thinner now for Ray.
Oh,
well.
no.
Diamonds. Raise
Any diamond here will do it. And that is a absolute tournament changer. And I'm going to leave that one to you to talk us through. Jinxie, that is not what we would have expected at this point of the tournament.
I'm stunned. I believe it's gone raised from Ray out of the small.
1.76.
Tom has re-raised, and Ray has decided to 4-bet jam what appears to be.
Can you just break one out for me, please?
Oh well.
Just getting this confirmed now.
1.76. 1.5, 6, 7, 65.
Not sure about the effective stacks, but Ray did have about 50 big blinds to start the hand.
Why did I jam? Oh,
And
Why did I
as-
jam,
Or
he
as
says.
Ray's lamenting after this, why did I jam?
just have it, Tom.
I think everyone in the chat, everyone on the stream, including us, might agree with you there, Ray. And I just want to confirm, you know, last night we saw the players look to attempt to attack Dion's stack. Just picked up on a few reads there as the way that he was playing. And I did mention 10 to 15 minutes ago that Tom will see Ray as a chance to get some chips from, because Ray is so wild. You know, that works for Ray so often, being an APL main event runner-up and dual APT winner. But, you know, I could just read the mind there of Tom. At some point, he knew something like this would come from Ray, and it just so happened he had the hand to go with pocket queens. We are confirming it did go Ray's 3-bet, 4-bet all in and call. What a tournament-changing pot. I know my prediction earlier was for Tom to win, but he'd be looking at about being $1.20, $1.10 chance to win from here with this stack. One of the best players in Australia at the moment. Goodness gracious me. And we heard Ray on the table mic, why did I jam? It's hard to disagree with you there, Ray. You're always taking those spots. It works for you most of the time, but goodness gracious me. That's changed everything, Harvey.
300,000.
Yeah, massive shift now.
The worst part about that, we don't want to be results orientated, but you know, once we go bet call on that King 6-5, we can get away from it there, and Ray's just gone with the ICM gigapunt. That's changed everything.
Keep 2 re-raise, 240. 4-4.
Move the phone chips away from the screen.
Keep 2 4.
Just catching our breath after that hand. Ray lamenting. We did hear him say on the table mic, why did I shove? Such a game changer of a hand.
Ray's so composed though. This won't get to him. Don't worry about that. He's going to keep firing and play his game. He always performs the same no matter what, so you'll be straight back on the bike here. As Kazakhstani's favourite son, Tom Maguire, is going to be just so hard to beat now.
Just explain to everyone why he's got the Kazakhstan flag next to his name.
Well, we're actually unsure. We know it's some type of troll, but he has done it at other series as well. It might be just a reference to Borat with the... but he's got the colours of the Kazakhstani flag on his nails as well, with the bright blue nail polish there from Tom, and just really getting around the Borat theme, I feel. Unless anyone in the chat's got any other ideas, but Tom, very funny guy, bit of a troll, but one of Australia's best.
Disappointed then that we didn't hear a very nice when he won that pot.
There were a few very nices in the chat last night, actually, when Craig was on.
Track round.
So that 7 on the turn has given Ray the check mark here.
Maybe we would have finished last night. Maybe we would have finished last night.
If it went like this, yes.
2 bet 300,000.
Love this from Ray. He's going to call very quickly. Love this size here, very polarized spot. Ray taking that 1.5x. Actually, no, sorry. This is just the graphics are just updated there. He's gone 70%. Still love the size. Don't get me wrong there. Value that 7 on the turn, and especially that repeat king on the river allows him to value bet to this size, and very quick call from bottom 2 pair there with Tom from Tom, and especially after he knows what Ray's capable of. That was a pretty clear call there from Tom.
We know how famous the Hashem name is in Australian poker, and a Hashem added a title here very, very late last night. And it wasn't Tony Hashem, it was actually Anthony Hashem, his nephew, who took out the big PLO in the very early hours of the morning.
9,500 up top there, I believe, around.
Congratulations to Anthony, great guy like all the Hashems are. And I know that I had a bit of a recap with Tony late last night, and he headed back into the poker room to watch Anthony. He was heads up when we came. I just only popped back in. It was very late by that stage, so hopefully Tony was there as Anthony took the title. Congratulations again. It's no mean feat to win an Australian Poker Tour title. Beautiful trophy to remind all our winners of their achievements. I've said often, Jinxie, that in addition to it being a very nice looking trophy, it's probably a great thing to have under your bed if you ever get broken into.
Is it ever? Especially the major ones, the Players Champs, the main event, Goliath and the Grind. They're so big, you don't want them on your mantelpiece, because if they fall off, it would break the floor. But they're twice as big as those normal trophies. You'd be lucky to be an intruder going into someone's house with one of those on the mantelpiece. They are huge, heavy, thick. You're not wrong.
And you will get to see one of those very, very shortly, because I'll bring that out as soon as we're heads up here. Might be anticipating things when I say very shortly. This could still go on for a fair while before we get to heads up. Just 3 very, very canny players.
Just with Ray and Tom, though, like Ray's shown that he's not going to die wondering. We could be in for... I'm leaning towards being in for a short stint, but we'll see. Thanks, Jimmy, for tuning in. Love your feedback, but no, we're still running this level. You'll see at the top right hand of the corner at the start, at the beginning of every hand, we'll have our blind level, and we are at 20, 40, 40. So that's 40k big blind and a 40k big blind ante. So yes, we are at 20, 40, 40. And for those that are, when they tune in mid-hand, we do have that. It isn't on during the hand, but at the time every hand starts, we have that blind level to recap at the beginning of every hand, so you'll be able to see that then. So yes, 20, 40, 40 and 40k big blind ante.
Now, as a more recreational player, I'm loving that from Ahmed. Wow, that's just a really great play.
He's played unbelievable. For those just tuning in, we don't know much about Ahmed, and I think from having a chat with him, he likes it that way. But I did mention to him, was just so impressed with his play. He's no recreational. He did mention to us he's just here for fun, but he ain't playing like it. Very serious talent is Ahmed. I'm led to believe a few spellings of the name, and there are a few big scores there that we don't know about. But he's a very quiet, private man who is playing extremely well. And played, when we started coverage from 13 left, he's just played so well from that point forward. It was very short when we started coverage and propelled his way into second place here with 3 left. I think we did find out he actually is a previous APT winner also. I think a poker shot potentially for about $11,000 to $12,000, and we do know back in 2017 he won the Vic Champs. He won the Vic Champs 5K in 2017 for around 50k, but we are led to believe there are a few more scores. He wouldn't tell me what they were.
As you say, he keeps his cards. You can't really say keep your cards close to your chest in this game, do you? Because you're not allowed to put them up on your chest, but he does.
He's just played so terrific.
He just doesn't blow his own trumpet, I suppose. It's more than the fact that he doesn't want us to know.
I also think that last comment he mentioned to me as we finished our conversation, he said, "This is just fun for me," and I thought, we've got a player here.
Yeah. Yeah, look at him now. He doesn't look like a guy. He doesn't look like Dipper.
No.
He doesn't look like someone who's just playing for fun. He's steely now. I think when you get to this point in the tournament, it doesn't matter what your attitude might have been going in. I think now you're thinking, geez, I really want to win this. That's a fair flop there for Ray. As he picks up trips.
He's going to love this too. I know he's not going to get much action, but it's always just a board we're continuing in our range with. We just basically have the nuts. That backdoor spade flush draw as well.
Ahmed actually speculates with the 40k just to see. Let's hope an 8 or 9 doesn't come out, or he might be in a fair bit of trouble.
It could be dicey. If we're going to float here, we're going to float with some devious intentions, but we know that Ray's got this locked up now no matter what. Let's see how this all proceeds.
Ahmed does eventually get out of the way. Looks like Brendan in our chat knows Ahmed pretty well from their, I've got to assume, their Thursday home games. He's been on the chat for a lot of yesterday too, showing Ahmed some great support. Get on there. If you are watching on Facebook, of course, we're across 3 platforms. As well as Facebook, we're on YouTube and on Twitch. Most of the chat seems to be on our Facebook stream. If you can't see some of the chat, probably what's happening there is that people are chatting on a different stream. We get to see all the chat, whether it comes in on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. But yeah, most of it seems to be coming in off the Facebook site.
I think after this hand, or potentially after the next, we've got a small break. We don't have a scheduled 10-minute break. The players just I think are wanting a 5-minute bathroom break, and because we started mid-level, you know, we could be playing for an extended period through the next 2 levels to the next break, so they just want a short 5-minute break here, and that's coming up shortly, I'm led to believe, in a couple of hands.
Wonder if we can potentially roll in one of the great interviews you've done with some of the players. Might just pop around and see our producer and see if we've got something sitting there that we can roll.
Southport calls. Heads up. 4 chips. That's 50,000. 5 million.
So Ahmed betting 50 into Tom, who's now got the 2 pair. Interesting to see if he just calls this and tries to drag him along. He doesn't. He raises, looks like, to 150. 125. Ahmed with absolute air. We'll get rid of that.
Sorry? Square flopping a pair forward. It's great flopping a pair forward. Only if you have trips.
And there's our chip counts. We can see that Tom, with a huge turnaround against Ray a few hands back, well out in front, but all 3 of them with plenty of chips, and it's definitely going to be a bit of seesawing here before this finishes.
Oh, no doubt about it. We saw, if you're just tuning in, Ray did have quite a substantial chip lead, and after he decided to 4-bet jam the Jack 10 suited there, lamented himself as soon as he did it that he may have made an error, but maybe the hand is an error, but the biggest error of all is just giving Tom those chips, because Tom's on our left and it's going to give us nothing but trouble. It's such a competent player, Tom, and as he picks up the hand again that we were just talking about, pocket queens.
There's definitely something about run good, isn't there? And especially at this time of the tournament, to be picking up monsters like this.
You know, against most players, we wouldn't have got the full double there, and we've got to take our good fortune when we have it. But you know, Ray did turn a flush draw. He wasn't dead.
He wasn't dead, and then you know, he doesn't really get anything out of the queens there. Neither of the other players picking up anything that they wanted to play.
Yeah, that's cool. Ray? Do you mind if we pause the clock so you can go to the bathroom?
So,
I think it's this hand that the break is. Yeah,
it's going to be a little break. I think it's just a bathroom break, as we say. Now, Jinxie, we've spoken a lot about Dipper, about he's not on this final table, but he's been on just about every other final table. You did a fantastic interview with him after he won the grind. I think we might roll that in. So
don't go anywhere.
Rightio. Now, I'm going to be speechless for a lot of this interview, which is rare, but we're here with the winner of the grind, his 2nd APT trophy in the space of 3 days. Dipper, what is going on?
Look, I've got a secret, okay? I mean, these GTO guys are just repetitious. It's just the same shit every single time, and I've worked them out, and now they're f***ed. Sorry to say that word, but I mean, we can edit it tomorrow. But
What an amazing answer! But there's got to be some proof to the pudding. You these incredible runs. First, the Hashem deep stack deep on Monday night. You took that out. The next day, third in the Players Championship, and tonight you had the chip lead for a majority of the event, from probably 20 down on the bubble all the way to probably four-handed. Lost a big hand versus Igor, but you were composed. You built that chip lead back up. It was one of the most incredible final tables I've ever seen. Talk about that stack that you had on the bubble and taking it all the way to that final table.
look, you're right. I felt like I was on a roll, but then I took that hit, and because I've been here so many times now this year, let alone in my career, but I just knew I had to wait. I had to wait. I had aggressive people on this table, and I knew I could just double in one hand. So I just waited for the right guy, and it was Naman, and it happened. It came, and it happened.
You had Higor on your left, Naman on your right. You had even to start the final table, Corey Van Jarzeveld as well.
Yeah.
And as we saw on stream, Anya played incredibly good poker as well. So
what a call.
Yeah, that
What a
call with the
call
ace
she
nine
made.
versus Naman was
Unbelievable.
amazing. So, you had to get through so many competent players, but heads up against Liz was probably one of the greatest experiences of her life. 80 years old, everyone. Liz
incredible.
satellited in, 80 years old, and she's gone heads up against Dipper. But one thing that I'm going to talk to you about, we've compiled the stats. Since January, Dipper has played in 17 live poker events. He's cashed in 16 of them, and in 12 of those occasions has made the final table. If anyone told me this, I simply just wouldn't believe it. They're telling me porkies, there's no way. This record defies physics, it defies maths. You told us your secret to tackle the GTO guys, but this is next level.
Yeah, look, I'm running well, but I'm playing well, but I just feel like I've got an edge. Now, people can, say I don't, but the proof is in the pudding, mate.
What I noticed about your play on the final table, which I really found extraordinary, you're known for showing down a lot of these crazy junky hands and bluffs early on in tournaments, but you protected yourself insanely well. You made a great fold with pocket sevens in that squeeze spot versus Anya, who had the aces. You're dead there. You played that hand so well. You could have easily jammed, but instead you decided to squeeze and fold to the raise. You're known for these big bluffs and these big plays, but you protect yourself just as much as you do any of that other stuff.
Yeah, I did. Look, the thing is, you've got to adapt to the players that you're up against. And there were some aggressive players on the table. And I knew I just had to wait. I just had to be patient. I just had to stay out of trouble because they were all attacking each other once I lost that hand. So I just thought, let them kill each other, and then one hand and I'll get my double. And it happened.
It did happen.
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna put North Korea next time.
20, 3, 4.
Nah. Why, Tom? Why do you just have it? Why do you just have it? I see all these other players, they shove 5 times, 10 times on FTs, never get called.
Put my headphones in.
Yeah. Why do you just have it?
Yes.
Do I need to put my headphones in? Do you need me to call the ambulance on you, Ray?
I'm not sure he was got the last
Do you need me to call the ambulance? Or are you going to be...
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
I'm done.
And call the ambulance if you like.
Alright. Now that you've said it, now I gotta bust it.
Alright, gentlemen, resuming at line level 20,000, 40,000, 40,000 for another 4.5 minutes. See man when you're ready, shuffle up deal.
4 cards.
Sit.
Oh no.
Sit.
Alex.
Sit. 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 They are very sticky.
That's the flop. They'll full flop close pass.
No, the 5 of spades is the flop. 5 diamonds is the gun card.
Sorry, everybody, back here with you. It was a short 5-minute break for the players. Our breaks coincide with the players as well, so just getting back on stream into the box. Joined by Harvey again.
If that was the first time you saw that interview with Dipper out there, you would have had a big laugh. But it's our 3rd or 4th time, and it actually just keeps getting better every time you see it. So, just to recap, Chris, or Dipper as he's known, has won 2 massive events here and finished 3rd in the other big one. He's cashed well over 80k this week.
In 4 days.
Just unbelievable.
And I'm not sure we would have seen the end of the interview there. We can play it on a bit of bigger break for the viewers later on, but he actually blamed me for his run. I made a big fault versus him when I had the best hand, and he talked me out of it. And it basically hasn't lost a single hand since that. So, not sure how I felt about him telling me I was the reason he's gone on this run, to the despair of every other poker player in the room, but it couldn't really have happened to a better bloke.
Unfortunately, that event, the Hashem Deep Stack, that wasn't an event that we were live streaming. That was very early in the week.
Oh,
but
I'm not sure.
I say unfortunate, you say fortunate. But
it was crazy.
But we did have, obviously, the grind on over a couple of days, and that's sitting on our platforms. You can go back in, especially if you want to watch the end of that grind, where 80-year-old Elizabeth was heads up with Dipper. A great watch.
Oh, just touching on that, when I mentioned the amount of feedback I got late last night when I got home after, because we played that Elizabeth interview quite late. The love for Liz, for a lot of players that don't even play, that were tuning into the stream, that sent me messages. They wanted an all expose 1 hour interview with Liz. The 10 minutes wasn't enough. I think we ran it for 8 minutes. It wasn't enough, and you know, the story of the traveling nomad going from series to series at 80 years old has grabbed everyone's attention.
You know, it's in fact a story that probably should go beyond the poker community and beyond the streams. And maybe we should send a little info over, something like a current affair, and let them do a story on her, because it is quite an unbelievable story. I guarantee you, if she'd somehow been able to ride that crazy play all the way to a win, I think that probably a current affair would have been right on it. But, you know, even as runner-up, what an amazing achievement. And she had so much fun. She was beaming. She even jumped in on Dipper's rail photo at the end.
Amazing.
She, really enjoyed herself. And I dare say, mate, even at 80, she would have been one of those that probably did struggle to get to sleep after that. She would have been so excited. Now it is buzzing outside. Also went for a little wander around during that break, and the 250 poker shop going on out there.
Yeah.
$250 dealer dealt. People milling around. It was a break in that. People milling around everywhere. I'll tell you what I did notice, though. What stood out to me was how many girls were playing that event. There was a lot of females out there, and we should make note of how incredibly successful the female players have been this week. Very underrepresented and overrepresented in trophies and really, you know, pointy ends of all these events. I think we've had seven female winners.
7 female winners. And, you know, Liz run you know, that grind final table as well. We still had Liz and Anya in with 5 left in one of our premier events. I know on the final table of the hash and deep stack that Dipper took out, Karina Sally busted in 5th as well. Partner of Ricky Crozen, who's also on the table too. Such a competent player, and 7 other players. Jade Mitchell taking out the opening event. One of the side events. And another 7 females have won trophies here and have way overperformed given the amount that have registered those tournaments. Incredible to see. I even think we had another female win the Mega Freeze for about $12,500
Yes.
as well. Sineza, I believe her name is. It's amazing results.
And we make note of it because it is the biggest growth area that we've got in not only the Australian Poker Tour, but in poker in this country, is to get more female players in that, you know, they don't feel intimidated, they don't feel that they're not welcome, that they're not, you know, that they're out of place. In fact, you know, I've said it numerous times, I do feel in some ways the female players have an inherent advantage. They just have some sort of feel that we don't
intuition that we would never know.
Yeah.
We would never know about.
Yeah, and you know, love to see the girls doing so well, and especially because they're, you know, heavily underrepresented. But that was pretty cool to walk around out there and see so many females in that poker shop 250.
Also got that 550 on as well, the 556 max. But
well, that's the one we'll be streaming later this evening. Probably our schedule today on the stream, on the commentators' stream anyway, is we'll obviously see this one right through. We weren't expecting to be back here for this. It was scheduled to finish last night, so you and I have had an earlier start than we otherwise would have had, but we'll stay on, obviously, until this one's done and dusted, and then we'll have a bit of a break on the commentary and come back in prime time for the 6 max. I don't know what you're going to do this afternoon, but I'm probably going to see my first VFL footy game for a long time. The Southport Sharks are playing Frankston here, and I don't think I've been to the VFL since my local club Caulfield played in the VFL. That'll be 30 years ago, I reckon. So I might have a look at, sit out there in the sun on the grassy knoll. It's really old school here. All the cars are all the way around the oval.
Such a good atmosphere here.
The nines again. How many times have we seen nines?
It's unbelievable.
Crazy.
Do you know you'll like this, the last VFL game that I attended? I remember it vividly. It was when the Gold Coast were in the VFL. When they first started their first year, they had those 2 years in the VFL. And I went down to Craigieburn City Oval to watch Carmichael Hunt's first game for the Gold Coast. And that was the last VFL game that I attended. God knows how many years ago that was. Kicked 3 goals in the first quarter and didn't get a touch for the next 3 or 4 years.
Probably the last time the AFL and the NRL crossed over each other there.
Yeah.
That was big news, wasn't it, when the AFL poached Carmichael Hunt? Huge news. But yeah, very old. I mean, this club, if you have not been here and you're in the area, come down. The Southport Sharks is an amazing setup, but it does revolve a little bit around the footy ground outside. The restaurant looks out over the oval, so a lot of people sitting around inside the glass there. And I actually noticed that the Champion Data Stats guys, and they do Champion Data Stats for VFL reserves, they were sitting there when I went and got a coffee.
You're kidding.
Yep, they were sitting up there behind that glass, and there's a guy basically calling every possession, and there's a couple of people on laptops putting them in. So there's a guy calling 10, handball, ineffective. It's very professional at that level, isn't it? So, yeah, but as I say, very old school with all the cars parked around the oval, tooting their horns when someone kicks a goal.
Great vibe.
Aces now for Ray. Let's see if he can bring someone along this time. Oh, he certainly can bring someone along.
My God.
Wow.
We have a massive hand developing here. Now Tom knows that knows that Ray's capable of these
God,
4-bet jams.
I'll
Jax
tell you
is
what,
Jax is a snap get in here.
When that king swung
All
around
in
there,
call. Yeah.
I thought it was kings actually, but we now have Jacks against aces. This could be the turnaround back the other way.
Yeah, there's no way that this is a fist pump get in versus Ray or versus anyone in this specific spot. Just a stone cold cooler going in the favour of Ray Wang. Still only 80% to win though, you never know, but God.
Yeah, everyone will tell you that they've seen, and I've seen often aces get cracked. It's actually crazy how often aces get cracked, but let's see what happens here.
To a flop of King of Hearts, 2 of diamonds,
Nice and
9
safe
of clubs.
for Ray's aces there. It's really just jacks now for Tom. It's 2 in the deck.
Backdoor straight draw as well.
Card brings the 2 of clubs.
That's
yeah.
And the river card is the 10 of diamonds. Ray Wang will double up in the Goliath.
I mean, we did predict the path to victory would be through Tom Maguire.
I run into it.
Jinxie choking up here over what's happening in the poker, but yeah, that's just a straight turnaround from the hand we saw about a half an hour ago, isn't it?
That's why I think even, you know, 9s plus would be a 3-bet fist pump call there versus Ray, because we know that he's capable of these really light 4-bet jams. Jax is just a snap get in, especially versus Ray. That's a stone cold cooler going to the favour of Ray Wang. But, you know, Tom is always going to be still hard to beat, but he's going to be so hard. That's basically the only way you're ever going to get Tom's chips as well as he's been playing in the last 12 months. There's no getting away from that. Fortune favours Ray there, and we're going to see fireworks now. Ray's got this insurmountable chip lead. Look at that huge pot getting scooped to the favour of Ray Wang. Of course, a dual APT champion, mini main event winner, runner-up in the APL main event for $350,000. One of the better credentialed players we have playing in Australia, and now looking to add a Goliath final table to his list of huge victories.
So if you went on earlier, these two collided when Ray pushed in all in with a Jack-10 suited, and Tom had the queens, and it basically flipped the chip count, and now it's flipped back pretty much to where it was before that hand. Very, very similar. So,
very similar.
And there's Ahmed sitting over watching these two, and he's got a very, very decent stack himself and playing great. This is so far from over.
Thanks, Dave, for letting me know my last VFL game was around 2011. Hunt played his first AFL game in 2011, so that means my last VFL game would have been maybe 2009, 2010, because they were in the VFL for a couple of years prior to playing in the AFL, and Hunt started with the Gold Coast from the very beginning, so I think now I've realised it's 15 years since I went to the VFL, so I might try and get out there with you and have a look at some of the action.
I think it's pretty well known that this club, the Southport Sharks, put in a big pitch to be the Gold Coast team up here.
It's always going to be a hard ask.
Well, I think the AFL's moved away from that private ownership model.
Yeah.
And, you know, that didn't work out for them a couple of times. So, and that would have been the only model for the Sharks to be involved.
Very interesting concept. We know that competitions like the NFL, you know, 30-odd teams there, and they're all privately owned except Green Bay. So it's one team, and every other team privately owned by mostly oil magnates and alcohol magnates, if that's what you'd want to call them, all privately owned there. Seems to work well, but doesn't seem to be an Australian thing.
Look, they've been burnt. I think the Sydney Swans things worked pretty well for a while, but the Brisbane Bears saga was a disaster, you know, for them with Christopher Skase, and Yeah, I don't think we're going to see that model. Even the new Tasmanian team that's coming in, they're going to be a state-backed team. Well, that's still, don't know if that's going to happen.
I thought, my personal belief is Tasmania should have been in before Gold Coast
absolutely.
and GWS. But, there's such a divide in AFL in Tasmania. You think that everyone in Tasmania wants that side, but Launceston and Hobart really hate each other, and I feel like that they're completely separate, and that the AFL base in Tasmania is all Launceston based. There's so much more love for the AFL in Launceston, love all around Tasmania, but Launceston really felt like that they should have been the home of the AFL in Tassie. They're bitter rivals, actually, but hopefully they can come together for this AFL side. A lot of those players are going to be travelling down 4 hours in the car from Launceston to Hobart. I know they put a big pitch in too, but it was always really going to be the capital city.
We haven't got any graphics up here for you, and sometimes it's nice to watch it like this because you can predict yourself what perhaps the players are holding. We're not doing it deliberately. We've just been told that we've lost the graphics for the meantime. Talk to you a little bit about the technology we're using here, this RFID table, which is the latest way of broadcasting poker. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the old style whole cam, which revolutionised televised poker. And players used to have to flick their cards up into the little pin camera that was in front of them. So they showed the broadcaster what cards they were holding. The broadcaster would then input the cards, and the graphics operator would put it up on the screen. It's a bit of a process. And then the next stage of that was having the glass and the camera underneath the glass, so the players didn't have to flick up the cards. They just put the cards face down on the glass and the camera saw it. But we've moved way, way ahead of that with this RFID table. Each card has a chip inside it, and the table itself picks up the chip, automatically generates the graphic on the screen, and in fact our cameras are also automatically generated in sequence, so we don't have a camera switcher moving these camera shots around. It's all automatically generated on the basis of whose action it is. It's pretty incredible, isn't it,
It's unbelievable. It really is. We've got, if we see those really big high production streams like Triton, WSOP, WPT, that's all manned camera stuff. And here we're doing our best with the automated version, and it does such a great job.
It's been a big investment into this. I know that Tony Hashem and the others behind the Australian Poker Tour see the broadcast as a really important way to grow the tour. And in Tony Hashem, you have someone who has the greater interest of poker at heart. It's really interesting to hear him talk about the other tours and how supportive he is. This is not about taking over Australian poker in any way. It's about growing it and working alongside the other big tours, and you keep mentioning the other tours, and there's no issue at all.
Oh,
in
man,
fact,
Joel Williams made a final table here the other day.
Right, yeah. I mean, we saw a lot of the guys, and everyone's wishing everybody the best, because the greater good is that if this game keeps going in the trajectory that it's going, we'll have more players, we'll have more tournaments, we'll have bigger prizes.
You got to remember, you can't see them as competitors. We share the same staff. It's all the same dealers and it's all the same TDs. We share the same players, and it's only good to be able to have all of those, all of these companies working together on a scheduling basis as well, because, a clash between APT and APL would just be a disaster. We wouldn't even be able to staff the event, let alone, make money through the amount of players that are playing. So, good to see Joel Williams here making a final table. You know, Will Davies from APO as well.
Yep. I mean, how far did Joel and Tony Hashem go back? I mean,
30 years or something.
I saw them. I saw when Joel walked in that you know, they hugged each other, and you know, they, as I say, you know, it's a little bit like the players. This is so fierce on the felt. You know, these guys are head down, bum up, doing everything to try and win these tournaments. But as soon as they walk off, it's
all forgotten
All forgotten, and it's a great community. So, and I also know with facilities, you know, the APL has invested so heavily in tables and technology and broadcast, and the other tours are using a lot of Tony's equipment.
Yep.
Sharing equipment, you know, when they've got events on, and vice versa. So it's interesting for someone like me who, you know, has been sort of outside the APT but has played poker for a long time and has known, you know, the Hashems forever. Just come in and see the spirit of cooperation and the, you know, the greater good, I suppose, is the way of putting it. So Ray puts the pressure on with the bet and gets the fold. Ray now way out in front.
It's going to be so hard to beat with this stack now, but as we said before, that big double with the Jack-10 suited versus Queens, Tom knows that he's always going to be a chance to get Ray's chips. We know he can be so light in these pre-flop jams and post-flop spots, and you know, the path to victory will be through Ray, but Tom knows that, and it was evident before that Queens versus Jack-10 suited hand, and it come to fruition about 10 minutes after we predicted it. But don't forget about Ahmed, just shown how competent he is all through yesterday's stream and today as well. Fortunate to have that big cooler versus Lachlan Crilly. Jack's first tens running out dry, propelling him into the chip lead at the time. Or second in chips, but what a final three we've got for you guys.
Jinxie, let's talk about changes in poker over the last little bit. I'm going to mention two. Let me know what you think. The disappearance of the sunglasses and the rise of the hoodies.
Well, I never really see Tom in a hoodie, actually. Very rare to see Tom throw the hoodie on. Ray is a perennial hoodie wearer.
What happened to the sunglasses, though?
I know. Well, Liz had the sunnies on.
No, but I asked her about that, and she told me no, they are actually optometrist prescribed glasses.
That makes sense.
And you know why she told me that? Because I said I knew you weren't going to win when you took the glasses off, because I was thinking those glasses were X-ray glasses, and you could see what everyone was holding.
Be about one of the only things that made sense.
Because the number of calls and folds and shoves that she had with those glasses on. But no, that is one of the things that I have seen change. I mean, everyone was wearing sunglasses at one point, and you just don't see it much now.
No, we don't. I think it's hard to... Can't really think too many of players that have had the sunnies on our streams in the last 4 days. I'm not a sunglasses wearer myself. I can think of 2 or 3 occasions of where I've had to wear the sunnies, but that's been due to some alcohol consumption the night before.
completely different reason. So we do think that normally it's because you are trying to limit your tells and your reactions, and you can look over and other players and they don't really know that you're looking at them, and you know, I mean, that's sort of been the theory on sunglasses, obviously. I mean, Joe Hashem famously wore the sunglasses all the way through in 2005 when he won the World Series. I don't think Joe wears them that often anymore.
I can't recall. Since I started playing, I can't recall ever seeing Joe with sunnies. But it's each to their own, and if it makes you feel comfortable at the table,
So Tom here.
5 of clubs would be a nice card on the river. Of course, that's been folded, but
So Tom just considering how much. 350. Ahmed.
oh, look at this! He's going to come with about 800,000.
Wow.
What a bluff! We know that this is likely not going to work, but look at the fearless intentions here from Ahmed. Checking back that flush draw on the turn.
I mean, Tom,
maybe this is a line we could take after we bet the turn with this flush draw, but I think that, goodness me, like, obviously Tom has probably got more of a fist pump call here than anything. He's just taking his time to consider. But Ahmed just shown ever since we have it, all the time banks go into the middle. We saw Jacques Ramsden use this tactic. You do get those time banks back if you don't use them all. But, you know, I can't really see Tom ever folding here.
I mean, he's got to be considering putting it all there, doesn't he?
No, we're never jamming here. Never.
He must feel at worst he's on a chop here.
No, because I think that after the turn goes check, it's just kind of called
it.
Yeah. After it goes check, we can never
fair
really...
enough. Yeah, fair enough. And, I mean, this...
On the turn, we can never really put our opponent on a hand that...
Yeah, fair.
I think Tom just wanted to make a very considered decision. He's a great thinker of the game, but, you know, I know really that Tom was never going to fold there, but maybe this could potentially not be the combo we choose after we go check. I'd love to see it from Ahmed. He knows 4 high basically is the nut low.
Yeah, he's giving it up.
Can't possibly win.
Yeah.
After we've checked back that flush draw on the turn, he's decided, I don't want to show this hand down. Obviously not show it down because Tom's bet, but obviously this is one of the worst hands I'm ever going to get to the river with, and he's picked that hand to bluff. I'd love to see it. You know, Ahmed's shown a propensity for great play here down from 13 left, and he wasn't going to die wondering.
Oh, okay.
You put out 20 plus 20.
Oh, did I?
He's just gambled there that Tom hasn't got an ace, I suppose, and you know, Tom's really got to think with anything else.
I just think if we have a really good think about this hand after Tom chooses this size, you know, it's a really polarized spot. So obviously not being able to call down 4 high when we choose to raise, we fold out all of that junky stuff that's decided to check the turn. You know, your 8-9s and 7-8s and all this type of stuff that Tom knows that he can't show down either. We can't even beat those with 4 high. So assuming that's the thought process there from Ahmed, you know, it's going to be really tough for Tom to even be able to fold a king or a queen there, basically because that turn's gone check, and we really got to wonder how many aces we check back there on the turn if we're Ahmed given the pre-flop action. So that's what the kind of hand that Ahmed is targeting. But I feel like once we take this line, we're going to get called down even by that king or queen X type of holding. But I mean, even though Tom went into the tank with 3 aces there, he's never folding. But just love to see Ahmed take one of the worst hands he arrives to the river with into a huge bluff.
So
wasn't going to die wondering.
Quick look here, mate. Sorry, but Tom has bet this, and Ahmed's got the 3 jacks. Just let's see what might happen here. Yeah, that was again going to be one of those hands that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Have had, you know, three or four.
Okay, so Tom's hit the 3 at the end here. Bet out 50. Ahmed's gone all in, I would suggest. He has. And Tom now figuring out whether it's worth putting in another 360.
I think he'll bin this,
and he's
yeah.
not.
So, you know, we've had so many 4 or 5 really great Australian poker hands to discuss over this last week. Who could forget Gary Lynn's call off in the Players' Champs? Hanya Asmar's call for versus Naman in the grind.
Lose behind or not?
And that's going to add to the list of hands that we're all going to talk about here. You know, I'd love to see it from Ahmed. But, you know, he's still in the game here. Ahmed really showing us how it's done in that Thursday home game. Not sure where that home game is, but there's a reason he's here three-handed. He's shown to be such a competent player, and we don't know much about him, but...
You're never going to be critical of someone trying to make a move. I mean, he's again,
absolutely
he's a bit short.
Not dying wondering.
Yep, needs to do something. So, love to see it. That's what makes this game so great. If everyone just played ABC poker, it'd be pretty boring. So
we've been blessed this week.
Yep.
We've been absolutely blessed with the state of play we've had. You know, we can only do so much, calling and trying to talk through the hands, but the players have really stolen the show.
Not just the quality of the players, but the numbers too. Nearly 400 in the mini-main. 400 entries in the mini-main.
Unbelievable. I believe we're down to the last 20 there, but incredible. Obviously a multiple flight event.
But still, 400 entries, incredible. And I think that Poker Shop 250 is well over 100 entries already, and there's still plenty of rebuy time. Or entry time, I should say. Room's buzzing out there. We can hear it. We can't see it. We are commentating this stream a half hour behind, just as you're seeing it as well.
We're going to get well over 100 entries for the Poker Shop.
Oh, there already is as well.
Yeah.
In the toilet break, there was already over 100. So it's really good. Poker live and well in Queensland. And on the Goldie. Gee, they love their poker up here on the Goldie.
Absolutely do.
Good rail. Watching the last three here as well. It's an all-in from Tom. Put the pressure on Ahmed. He folds his Jack 4. But now down to 9 big blinds. I think you're going to, unless something crazy happens, Jinxie, I think you're going to get to see your wish. I think you're going to get to see a heads up between Tom and Ray, but we're not going to count Ahmed out yet. He's getting short, though, compared to the monster stack of the other two.
Also, not a wish, just a general prediction on how the stacks were distributed.
Yes, you're not barracking for anyone here, but I think you also know that a heads up between those two guys is going to be some really good tactical poker.
No, it's all good. All good.
And if you're out there watching and you've got some mates who enjoy live poker, let them know that we're on. Get them onto the stream.
If you want an entertaining heads up match, if you're interested in heads up poker and Australian poker, and you know, with the way these stacks are, if Ray and Tom go heads up, I wouldn't be going anywhere. There'll be a lot to learn as well as it being entertaining. But Ahmed obviously still in, short now, but I wouldn't be going anywhere with Tom and Ray. That we're going to have fireworks for sure.
This is a nice hand for Ahmed to potentially get himself back into this. Goes all in. We just need to see if either of the two pick up. No, they don't. Yep, if you're on chat groups anywhere or get in. let your mates know that there's some great online streaming poker happening at the moment. We potentially have a heads up with two of the best players in the country. And a bloke is trying to disrupt that right at the moment.
These aren't the current hands. We're just catching up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here we go now.
200.
So Ray betting out with the ace.
Now he's gone to a size here that's going to allow him to call. That's going to stop Ahmed from defending wide versus his specific hands. So, we are seeing the 4x raise here, which is probably gonna have to make Ray call this off. I think. It's potentially why he's gone to this size. It is 20k, 40k. And he's declared if it's less than 600, he'll call. And it's literally bang on.
So
he's committed himself verbally. We know that's not. We know that's not legally binding.
You almost commit yourself.
I think
that raise, don't you?
I think that's why we choose this size from Ray. We are pricing ourselves into call, and we stop Ahmed's lighter defends as well. So that's why he's chosen this pre-flop size, and he's gonna have to call here. Yeah, he does.
He just said committed myself, and
I mean,
even though
Ray
he's reluctant,
Ray should have known that he was doing that with that size.
Sure.
Maybe he didn't think that far ahead, but he had to call off once he's gone there, and he's going to realise he's up against one of the best hands he could possibly be up against. Sorry.
And this is pretty much a coin flip.
On the Goliath final table, we have Ahmed all in and at risk with King of Diamonds, 6 of Hearts.
As much as Ray said, priced himself in and sounded a bit reluctant, he's going to be pretty happy to be going in here.
He's stoked the way this hand played out with these sizings to be up against this hand.
And he's going to be extra happy now.
Flopped Ahmed basically dead to running straight cards.
Joker does bring a 6.
So he's paired his 6, but he still needs a king or a 6 here to stay alive.
And the river card
Doesn't get it.
7 o'clock. We will lose Ahmed in 3rd place, taking home $19,500. Could I get a big round of applause for Ahmed, please?
And a big round of applause for Ahmed in the room and in here in the broadcast area. Played so well, and 3rd place, nice prize money. We finish up in a heads up with two very, very, very good poker players. This could be, a fun hour or so ahead of us, or it could be a few minutes depending on what happens. But this is a great conclusion.
I just want to focus on Ahmed here a little bit. A player we knew nothing about basically coming into this. From 13 onwards, just showed, maybe a misstep there with the Fortuna clubs, even though we'd love to see it. But before that, no mistakes, solid aggressive play. He showed himself to be incredibly competent. We're not sure if Ahmed plays online or in big home games, but he's certainly very experienced. That was evident in the state of his play very quickly as soon as we started coverage. I loved seeing some of the stuff I saw from Ahmed. What a great run. GG's in 3rd, but, chatting with him this morning, he was just here to compete. He wanted to win. Loved seeing what I saw from him. Really great run from Ahmed. GG's.
So just a bit of discussion here about where the button is for this heads up, and I'm pretty sure they're going to take a break.
Always gets me. We got the 10-minute break.
Yeah. So, look, we're going to come back with this live, but don't run away anywhere, because we are going to roll in Jinksy's interview with 80-year-old Elizabeth, who finished 2nd in the grind. A lot of fun, this.
Poker Players tonight will be your last chance to get in on the $150,000 guaranteed Gold Coast Champs main event. We've had 230 entries through this week with a whopping 105 on Friday night, but only 29 have bagged through to day 2. Get yourself to Southport Sharks tonight for a chance to get your name in poker history.
All right,
Here we are on day 7 of APT Gold Coast. We're here at the Gold Coast Champs, and what a final table we had last night on the grind. Taken out by Dipper for $45,000, but what is one of the best stories out of this table is Liz Buisson, who came second for $27,000 after satelliting in this very room for $180. Now, Liz, this is not even your first final table of the grind this year. I just had a look. You final tabled the grind back in January.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For 8th. You remember
Yeah.
that? 8th? And then second today. What was your strategy like going into the final table? How did you come second?
Well, how can I explain that to you? I used my instinct. I study the people around me. I try not to take too many risks. I stay out of the game. I wait until the right cards. But sometimes my instinct tells me I can go for it, do something that I'm not supposed to do because the cards are not really there. But I still do it because I have the feeling that I'm going to get away with it.
Well, I commentated on the entire final table, and what you're telling me is completely true. From the top of my head, you ran 6 massive bluffs, and every time you got your opponent to fold the best hand. Every single time. If you had ace-5, they had ace-6. If you had queen high, they had ace high. So you must be. What are you looking at?
I'm
are
a
you
bit
looking...
of a witch.
that actually makes sense. Some of the stuff that you were doing.
It works with very good players.
Yeah.
Because they are more cautious of what they're gonna do. And a bad player, he calls everything.
Yeah.
So also, I'm a woman, so a man
don't call as much as they should, do you think?
No, they bully you.
Okay.
But then suddenly I stop and I don't let them bully me anymore. And I'm the opposite then. I'm start to bully them.
Now, I had a little bit of a look at your record. You've been playing poker for some time. I saw an ANZ PT trophy back in 2010 in New Zealand.
Yeah, in New Zealand.
For about $15,000. So how long have you been playing for?
I would say Texas Hold'em. In 2003, I had a world ticket at 5 stops around the world. And my dream was to go to Las Vegas. So one of my stops were Las Vegas. And I had 4 days stop. And in 4 days, I think I slept 13 hours because I discovered that Texas Hold'em, that was wonderful.
Amazing.
Wonderful game. I was hooked straight away. And okay, I came back to Australia, of course, because I went first to Europe to see my family. And there was no poker here. So I waited until 2006. But I was always close to poker in here and tried to stay up to date with the poker. And there was no internet like now or nothing, but anyway, it was still in here. And try to find, can you play with friends or whatever, you know. And then came the World Championship in 2005 in Las Vegas, the World Series of Poker. And that wonderful man, Joe Hashem, from Melbourne, won it, and it was
changed everything.
Unbelievable. Changed the life of the poker, because in Australia didn't exist practically before.
No.
And it's because of him that it happened. He wrote a book.
Yes.
And I wrote that book more than once, straight away about the books. And I was really full of admiration to Joe, and I'm still am.
That is amazing. That is just...
Yeah.
So what I find more incredible than that story is something that we've got your permission to ask you about, is your age.
Oh.
That is...
Okay.
We were stunned when you were heads up last night against Dipper, who's taken the Australian poker community by storm, that you are, in fact, 80 years old.
I just turned 80, yeah.
I'm absolutely stunned.
The day of the woman in the world, you know, the 8th of March, it's the day of the women in the whole world, that date.
International Women's Day.
And that's my birthday, that day.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so you've just turned 80.
Yeah. But I'll tell you a little story about that.
Of course.
When I started to play poker, so in 2006, at that time I didn't look, not even 40.
Barely look 40 now. That's why we're all stunned.
No. Very nice of you to be nice with me, but no. But at that time, you know, anyway, I was young, very young. I'm still young here.
Of course. You
And
still are,
my
obviously.
body is scrambling a bit, but I ignore it and I keep my mind. That's the most important.
Do you find that poker is keeping your mind sharp
Yes,
when you
of
play all the
course,
time?
Of course.
Yeah.
Not only, mainly the poker because that's what I'm focused the most.
Yeah.
But also I do Sudoku.
Of course.
Yeah,
Every day
all
in the
time.
paper?
Oh yeah, no, I have a book.
Yeah.
When it's full, another book.
And what are your plans going to be from now on? Are you going to keep playing? Are you going to go anywhere to play? You're
Until I
kick
kick the bucket.
You are unbelievable.
But before, when I was playing poker, so in Cairns, of course, for years, and nobody knew my age. I always hid my age, and nobody imagined that I was much older than them.
No.
And I was feeling ashamed to be older, you know. And it's only now, since I am 80, that I am proud of myself instead of being ashamed of being old and nobody has to know.
Yeah.
See, I changed my attitude completely, and that makes me feel happier.
Unbelievable. I'm speechless. I was speechless at some of the bluffs that you ran last night, which were just incredible. You got everyone to fold a better hand. It's amazing to hear your story, your age, how long you've been playing for, how you started playing. You're an inspiration, to say the absolute least, to be able to come here and go heads up at the age of 80.
But I am with my motorhome because I am a grey nomad. And I'm traveling around.
My God, we could sit here and talk about that for another.
So many more things to tell you.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us and telling us that just incredible story at the age of 80 years old, going heads up against Dipper in the grind. You final tabled it back in January. You just have an incredible story. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. Hope to see you on more final tables for the rest of the year.
I hope so.
All
and I will change my strategy.
Of course you will. See, that's why you keep making...
Because now everybody knows, so...
That's why you keep making final tables. It's so clever. So thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Congratulations on making the top stage of the Goliath series. First prize for the event, $5,000 plus $750 FT alcohol tickets. Second prize, $29,000 plus a $750 alcohol. If at any stage you wish to make a deal, please do not have cards in front of you. Call myself over, we'll pause the clock and we'll go through the deal. If you have any problems whatsoever, please also feel free to call me over at any time. We'll get you one bank at the next race. Thank you for staying at the tournament. We have 24 minutes, 26 seconds left for 25,060.
Okay, I'll ask a question. Yes. Is there still the thing where you have to leave a fraction of the month in the issues to do it? Okay, how much is it?
That's 5% of what you're paying for. You must need to. No problem at all. Dylan, wish you all the very best of luck. Email, best of luck.
Right, guys. Cool.
Please have all players in the poker shop 250. If you could please start making your way back towards your tables. Your tournament is due to recommence in just over 3 minutes.
Yes, we are here. We're back. Short break. Back on heads up play now, and you can see the beautiful trophy
100.
on the table. This is what Ray and Tom are playing for, as well as, of course, 45K up top. Gonna suggest you buckle in unless we see a couple of callers. I think we could be in for a decent length heads up here with these two very accomplished players. Obviously, Ray, with the huge tip lead, is going to be favoured at this stage, but as we've seen already with these two, the chips can flip pretty quickly. We've had Ray with the huge chip stack lose a lot of that to Tom. Tom was then the big stack, and then a cooler hand. Aces against jacks. Ray's aces holding up. Flipping those chips back the other way. In the meantime, we did see Ahmed disappear in third place. Played incredibly well. Picked up 19 and a half. Ray here.
Blind level 500, 1,000 big blind NT.
Miles in front. Tom now dead to the three kings.
And we are back underway in the poker shop 250, blind level 500, 1,000, 1,000. Dealers, please shuffle up and deal.
Just a little bit there to try and induce a call. Tom does call. So the three hearts do finish up out on the board. Ray had the check mark by the time the turn was out on the table. What's he going to do here? Bets 125. 105, sorry. And we get the call. And Ray picks up about 230k in chips.
Sorry I'm a bit late with Harvey, but very good reason for it. I caught up with our enigma, Ahmed, on the break, and he asked me what I thought about the 4 deuce of clubs, and I thought, potentially after the turn goes check, check, maybe not. But he goes, you know what? My mates are watching, and I wanted to make it entertaining. Okay. That's the only reason for the bluff. I'm like, you know what? That makes it a good bluff. He goes, oh, well, Tom tanked with the ace-5. And I'm like, well, Tom, you're probably always calling. But he goes, I'd had enough. Wanted to make it entertaining for my mates. And I did find out his history in poker. And kind of saying too much. He's played in a lot of big games overseas. But that, from me watching him play, was no surprise.
No.
That, you know, he's a regular in those big cash games, and, you know, absolutely not shocked at all at the level of his play. And it was a very, very nice fella. Looked very intimidating on the table, but just having a chat to him then, seemed like a very nice guy. And hopefully, if his mates are still in, that's all he wanted to. The mates are still watching with us. All he wanted to do was make it entertaining for you fellas, and he certainly did that. High level play. It was great to see a name like Ahmed here finish third for really good score.
19 and a half, yeah. It's good money. Just before you sat down, I was saying that more than likely our viewers should buckle in for what could be a very interesting and potentially long heads up here with these two.
Ray Wang, of course, dual APT main event and mini main event winner. APL Million runner-up for 350k, but what about Tom Maguire, one of the best players in Australia currently? In my mind, probably top 5 in Australia at the moment. These two players heads up. I wouldn't be going anywhere if you want to learn about poker, or if you really just love tuning in and watching these stars of Australian poker. I wouldn't be going anywhere. We're deep stacked. Ray with a 2-1 chip lead, but you know, that's not going to faze Tom. Wouldn't be going anywhere.
With these two here, Jinxie, probably the most unlikely thing is going to be a misstep from someone because they're very accomplished.
I mean, you know, Ray's 4-bet jam with a Jack-10 suited is, you know, he's admitted himself that that was a misstep, but maybe sometimes that's just out of our system.
Yep.
You know, it's out of the way, and that probably won't happen again.
275.
We've said it a few times, but it is absolutely buzzing in the room out there. One of our staff just passed me by in the hallway and said, we're really close to hitting capacity. That's pretty amazing. As we said, we've got well over 100 players now in the Poker Shop 250. We're getting to that pointy end of the mini main, which had multiple flights, but had nearly 400 entries.
Unbelievable.
Over the course. The 6 Max that's coming up is already proving incredibly popular outside. We're going to be broadcasting that one tonight.
It's just going to be a fun tournament. You know, there might be a few people there on the final table that have been having a couple of beers on a Saturday night. It's a really quick, fast-paced tournament. 550 will still have a lot up top there, but you know, don't forget that's a 25K guarantee as well. I mean, that's just, we'll smash that. There's no doubt about it. So hopefully looking at maybe potentially 8 to 10K up top there, and probably more of a fun, light-hearted stream tonight, I think it will be. You won't hear too much yapping on from me about hand analysis tonight in the 6 Max. We'll save that for heads up here and the Gold Coast main event tomorrow. But tonight I might look for a little more light-hearted conversation, maybe a few guests as well. I've actually been, me and Matt on our way home last night even commented that, you know, I usually will have 1 or 2 when I'm deep, like late on a day in a tournament as well, and maybe even 1 when I get home, but, you know, especially just working this week, but it is Saturday night and we've put in a lot of effort. Maybe 1 or 2 beers will go down pretty well. No, I've...
We're going to see this one right through, obviously, and then stream, pick up again once we've rearranged things, and RFID feature table is part of Max. Stream back up at 9. I'll have a little break and come back for this evening. Go late into the wee hours, I would imagine, tonight.
Might try and get in a quarter with you at the VFL game over the back.
Well, I just noticed the poker room here, they've had their blinds closed the whole time, but it's not. The windows look straight out onto the ground.
Do they really?
Maybe I'll put my mic on and they might be able to hear me. I said the poker room here has had the blinds closed the whole time, and someone opened up the window a little bit, or the blind a little bit, and the glass looks right out over the VFL ground outside there. So
I couldn't tell you how many series I've played here.
I
never knew that.
Yeah.
You've just told me that for the first time. Goodness me, I would have been close to 10 series here at Southport Sharks, and I had no idea what was behind those closed blinds all that time.
I just had a look outside. Just at the got to imagine it was the back end of the reserves game. It's just finishing up. Southport playing Frankston out on that ground in the VFL today. Talking about it earlier. Really old school with all the cars parked around the ground.
It's amazing. Have you been to the Adelaide Oval?
I have.
To watch footy?
I have.
That grass area where the bar is and you look up at those stands, there's nothing like it. It's one of my favourite.
It brings back so many memories of, you know, how you used to watch sport not just AFL, but you know, the NRL as well, the move to all-seater grounds, and you know, just lost a little bit of that joy of, you know, being memorable to go out to a team's real home ground as opposed to
MCG
or Marvel. Yeah, you know, and I mean, even the old days of VFL Park out at Waverley. But no, I certainly spent enough of my youth at suburban grounds like Victoria Park and Moorabbin.
I've actually played a game at Victoria Park. Right. When I've played one TSC Cup game at Victoria Park against Oakley. I felt like the ground was so big I couldn't see the other side of the... If I was on the wing, I couldn't see the other side of the wing. It was daunting, but good to be able to play at least one game on one of those old-style grounds.
Yes. Well, just a little bit about my background. I started my life as a journalist, and I was a sports journo at The Age for the first 6-7 years of my working life, and I was an AFL. Obviously, if you're in the sports department, you're an AFL journo, and every week I got to go to one of those fantastic suburban grounds and see it from that side. Lots and lots of memories. I remember one day when the Swans beat Collingwood by a point down at Victoria Park, and I honestly thought that Warwick Kappa was not leaving that ground alive.
Very famous incident.
Yeah, they actually ran into the rooms at the end of the game, and the Collingwood fans were banging on the visitors' dressing room doors, and it was pretty feral down there. And the very famous day where Nicky Winmar lifted up his Guernsey and showed his Aboriginal skin. I was there that day too.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The Victoria Park was a very, very interesting place to go and watch Collingwood play feral. Tyrone, the payouts from here are 45 up the top. There's no deal, from what I understand.
I will tell you right now, knowing Tom, there would he wouldn't deal with his own family member. I don't think there will be no deal here. I don't think.
No deal. So Tom, 45 and 29. So.
GG's Ahmed in third for 19,500, but we've got a $16,000 jump between second and first, of course, 29 and 45K. But you know, Ray's had the better of Tom here. Heads up, as we were talking about a bit about our history there. Tom ran a huge bluff with 9 high and was caught off by third pair of Ray Wang, which has taken him up over 4.4 million. But don't worry about this. If you don't know Tom Maguire, you soon will. Amazing results on the live felt, but can't speak highly enough of his exploits online. He's one of Australia's best players. He might not be one of the most, you know, well-known. You know, you're probably more familiar with Ray Wang than Tom Maguire, but Tom is one of the most successful players we've ever had out of this country, and it's going to be great to see how he attacks heads up here versus Ray Wang. That's an amazing story, Harvey, actually being there on the day at Victoria Park.
Yeah, I was very, very good mates with the photographer, the Age photographer, Wayne Ludby, who took that photograph.
I went to school with Wayne's. I know Mum will be tuning in. She'll be able to correct me. It's also a client of Mum's as well. But Mum, Wayne's daughter, I believe I went to school with back at home in Victoria.
Right.
He was a couple of years below me.
You can just take a short one if you want.
Her name, obviously, Ludby as well. And I think, just can't recall her name at the time, but actually did go to school with her daughter there. So a little bit of paths crossing. The most famous photos in the history of our country, not alone the history of sport in our country.
Yeah, just to be there that day. They finished up immortalising that in a bronze statue. He was, again, you know, just one of the great things about being in that industry is getting to meet these people and being, you know, in their area. We spoke about, you know, Shane Warne a couple of days ago. I was lucky enough to know Shane really well. Played in his home games with the Hashem boys and quite a few ex-AFL players. Poker brought us all together. Nicky Winmar also, great man, great man. fell on some pretty hard times after he finished playing.
If you are just tuning in, don't be fooled by Tom's Kazakhstani flag next to his name. That was one he got past us. Definitely is born and bred here from Queensland. Ray Wang of Malaysian descent resides right here in, not right here in Gold Coast, in Brisbane, but we are in the Gold Coast, but is a resident of Brisbane, has been here for some time. And what an accomplished player he is. Wouldn't be going anywhere.
And on the rail behind him there, Lockie Crilly, who finished 5th in this one.
You know, we had that heads-up match between Liz and Dipper. We presumed that probably wasn't going to go for too long, but I'd strap in here. We might be here for some time. We're deep stacked with two very competent players. This could be a bit of a marathon heads-up match. We are, you know, Tom is the shortest, but he's still got 44 big blinds. He would still consider himself a favourite versus Ray.
You need a break. Thanks, Tom. Likewise.
Just talking about
Likewise.
taking a little break. Probably just a bathroom break or a... I'd have to say it's probably that. Stretch the legs break, maybe.
Yep.
You said you knew that Ludby's, Wayne, marrying into the family of the great Jimmy Steins as well. Was the brother-in-law of Jimmy.
Before the game commences, can you start making your way to your tables?
Another
All players
unbelievable,
tomato.
generous, incredible person that I feel so privileged to have met and known. And yeah. As you go through, I'm an old man now compared to probably most of the people listening to this. I don't feel old, but your life really, you know, you look back and so much of it is the incredible people you've met and got to know as in business and often as friends.
How old would have Wayne been?
Wayne's my age, so he's late 50s,
yeah.
I'd say.
So that
wouldn't know I'm late 50s to look at me.
Not to forget, that wasn't Wayne's only photo.
Oh.
Just one of the most accomplished photographers we've ever had.
He took some great photos, but my memory of Wayne is absolutely paralytic at my 21st on the dance floor.
They're the ones you don't forget.
And
huh?
he was spinning me around on the dance. They lifted me up, and anyway, I remember it well because I was sick after that. So. But yeah, it's your journey is so much about who you meet, and what a great community to be in with poker, because I'm sure that this is happening now. You know, these poker's brought so many of these people together who would never be in the same sphere, and there's so many great mates out there that you meet, and they're now your lifelong friends.
Did you just see what size Tom choose here? Going to go towards full pot, I would think. Polarized spot. You have a straight or you do not. I love this size too because we have those clubs. We unblock hands that Ray can call with. We do have a lot of flush draws here, but we just also happen to have the 7 of clubs in our hand. So Ray, you know, maybe looking at a board that you'd think he would fold a lot of hands with, but you know, Tom's basically telling Ray he has a straight or he doesn't, and Ray is a believer. So, nice pot there to Tom, clawing back slowly but surely. And just to reiterate, no deal will be done, and I'm just going to predict for the viewers, I don't think there will be a deal done.
We talk about the money. How important is the title and the trophy for these two guys? Where do they rate that?
For Tom, the title and the trophy is probably pretty low. You know, we've spoken a lot about Michelle, Dipper, you know, even Ahmed, who appear to just be here for the competition. Tom is a professional. He plays for money. You know, it'd be hard to not really want to be able to enjoy a win, but, you know, I know that Tom is going to think he's a favourite in this heads-up match. I've harped on it since we started coverage yesterday. He's one of the best players in the country, and these two are always looking likely to heads up. You know, Ray is an APT main event and mini main event winner, and I feel like that, you know, the trophy's going to mean a lot to him as well as the money, but I just feel like Tom is a professional. It's all about the EV for Tom, and he's here for the $45,000 more so than the prestigious Goliath trophy.
Of course, in addition to the trophy, you get the ring, which is out there on the table as well. The Drakakis Jewellery Australian Poker Tour winner ring. Tipper's got two of those, and he put them both on. He loved it. Others have won rings here, and they actually go up on the shelf. They don't actually go on the finger.
Do you remember when we asked me if you asked me if I'm someone that wears my ring, and I mentioned that I'm not, but a good friend of mine, Chris Skinner, does. Chris found me after I made that comment on stream, which he heard live, and he said, "You made a really big claim there." And I said, "What's that, Chris?" He goes, "That we're mates." A proud winner of the Players' Champs is Chris Skinner, and he's got a lot to do with that Southern Poker Tour down in Adelaide, and they often ask him to bring the ring along to wear it. That's how prestigious the ring is, and of course, every time Chris Skinner does play the Players' Champs, he wears the ring. Oh, just a great guy is Chris Skinner.
So how's that river card there? It gives Ray the flush at the lowest end, and it's Tom's jack is obviously no good now. What happens here, Jinxie?
You know, after this turn goes check, check, I still think we can probe small here for value. We might be looking at 150 to 200, I would think would be a nice size. Ray goes with 150.
You're good, and he obviously gets the call for the 150.
Just with the specific diamond we're holding in our hand, really like going small there. Just because it generates so many calls from, I know it's easy to see the cards, but Tom's specific hand, once it goes bet, check, check, there are a few pairs in that range, and we'll really like that small size there from Ray. Gets snapped off by Tom.
7?
You'll receive an additional.
$120?
To reiterate, we love our new skin here. The 4-color deck had so much good feedback. But, you know, Tom, those outs up there are not outs for a specific win. They are chop outs as well. And we do take, you won't see that with the full ring table here heads up, but we have that, we do take into account the folded cards. So, you know, players are often in a lot worse shape than they think. But they are chop outs above that you'll see taking up our screen. Tom loved this check raise here with the backdoor clubs, Queen High. We'll look to see Tom continue on a lot of turns here, especially ones that contain a club or a 5 or a 6, maybe even a deuce. Be interesting to see how we proceed on this specific card. Tom, much more experienced heads up and much more experienced all-round player than myself. I really love to see what he's going to proceed with here. He's telling the story that he either has a 3 or 10x for value, so it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, it goes with check. You know, there's a lot of cards we barrel this turn on. You know, we pick up equity with that club, but you know, the ace of diamonds makes it really hard to continue. As Craig Abernathy just lets me know, if Tom Maguire does win this, he'll be the only player in the Kazakhstani top 10 for cashes on Hender Mob with last names that don't contain a V. So thank you very much, Craig. Of course, Tom trolling us there. Slipped one through to the keeper with that Kazakhstani flag. Of course, a generational talent. So we'll chop this one up.
He'll potentially overtake his sister and become the #1 poker player in all of Kazakhstan.
That's not bad from you at all. That is not bad from you whatsoever. Goodness me. Must have practiced that.
I do believe that the scene from the first Borat movie when he came down the stairs with the small plastic bag.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Is one of the funniest scenes of all time.
There's so many scenes in that movie that are classic.
But yeah, when he comes back from the bathroom with a small plastic bag, I still think is what's going through your head to be writing stuff like that. Thanks, Anthony. We're one step ahead of you and have had a chat with the production team because we're half an hour behind. It does take a little while to make those adjustments. Just pulling the reflection, the contrast, I should say, on that camera back so the cards are a little more readable. Sometimes the overhead light just catches the cards. There's a bit of change overnight. Table moves or the setup changes a little bit. We're onto it. Thank you so much. Love the feedback. Anything we can do to help.
A lot of the times too, we may not know that there's a sound issue. We are in a locked room here out the back. We are commentating this to you live as you see it. We don't know what's happening in the, half an hour ahead. Obviously that delay on the stream is really important as Tom Maguire backdoors into the flush. But, if there are sound issues that you feel like are, impacting the stream, thanks, Anthony, for letting us know about that light issue. We are onto that, but, just let us know in the chat. We love your feedback. We want to make this as good, this content as good as possible for you to be able to witness. Really step things up this series. Feedback's been great, but Ray with a...
It just can't... This makes it so small.
Yeah,
nice
two bigs on the river.
Yeah. So Tom is picking up a few chips there. Not much, but he'd be happy to drill away.
I think we'll see a lot of Tom just chipping away other than, You know, Tom's going to want to avoid those big pots, 40 big blinds deep, 35 big. Well, we're up to 30, 60 now. Changes things a little bit, but you know, Tom's going to feel like he's a solid favourite here, and you know, such an accomplished player. But don't underestimate Ray Wang. Both such lovely guys. Yeah. Tom very eccentric, but really good-natured fellow, and Ray's one of the better blokes you'll meet.
So the ace-10 suited here for Tom. Looks like a decent raise, and Ray folds immediately.
It's a big 3-bet there from Tom. 5x out of position there, and you know, he's committing himself to get it in there versus a jam from Ray, I believe. He's probably looking to get that in about 35 big blinds deep. Ace-10 suited, good enough, he believes, versus Ray. But I have noticed Tom has chosen bigger sizes pre-flop before. We saw that Jacks versus Aces cooler when he went a little bit bigger than you usually do in ICM. He's gone really big there as well. He's definitely got his reasons for that. Would love to chat to him about that. But just, you know, a lot of the things, once these sizings are automated, we pick these up with the action from the dealer, but just trying to bring the viewer into why we're choosing these particular sizes. These bigger sizes we don't see often on final tables, but Tom really feels like that's the way to proceed here. You know, that could be a function of trying to deny Ray equity with you know, floats that are on the lighter side, but you know, Tom will definitely know more than me about that in this scenario. Love seeing him get in the mix and play. This will be his last tournament before he heads out to Vegas, I believe. What a way that would be to go. $45,000 a day before we go on the plane.
Geez, that'll last you all of 3 or 4 days in Vegas.
We've just found out, thanks Liam Murray for chiming in, that Tom Maguire was all in with 5 big blinds at 4K, 8K, 8K. So not that long ago, before the stream started on the final table, he spun back 5 big blinds at 8K big blind all the way here to 2.1 million and heads up, and actually an incredible performance. You know, I love hearing. I heard a lot of hands last night from that. We were 5 and 5 and 6 and 5. A lot of hands happened on that secondary feature table that would have been worthy of the feature table. Loved hearing about a lot of those last night. Tom was in a lot of them. I believe Tony Hashem was in a lot of those hands as well. But we love hearing that extra little bit of information that we don't know here back in the booth. Of course, commentating to you live from out, you know, in a locked room. We commentate this as you see it. So love those little extra tidbits that we can bring the viewer.
Yeah, there obviously is a slight downside for that for us, because we're maybe not as across everything as we otherwise would be, but for the sake of the integrity of the broadcast
So
and the
important.
integrity of this, you know, whole tour, we don't want to know what's going on live. We don't, you know, no one in this production team wants to even be accused or suggested of knowing what's happening and passing on any info. So I love the fact that we do it this way. I have done broadcasts that I've been calling live, but they've been sent out on a half-hour delay. I actually don't like it. I don't like it at all. See, King 10-5, 2 hearts. Ray hits the king again.
Not much here for Tom to really proceed.
Talking of where we're operating from, certainly there's been a lot of investment with some new owners of the Australian Poker Tour, and this is the area where you can see that investment right in your face. This whole broadcast area, back room area, is resembles a full-on network TV setup, and of course I worked in network TV for a long time, so I speak from an educated source there. The investment into equipment, into trying to get this broadcast up to a broadcast standard, not just online standard.
I feel like we're there.
Yeah,
or at least getting there.
Yeah, we hope the commentary's matching it. We're doing our best, but the technology that we're using here, again, I did mention it before, the RFID table, the chips inside the cards automatically bringing up the graphics, the cameras working automatically around the action, so we don't have someone sitting there selecting cameras. It's all automatic.
It's actually amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
And you're probably wondering about how the hell do we know the chip stacks and the betting, because there aren't chips inside the chips. The dealer is wearing a headset, as you'll see, and is relaying the betting to our operator back here, who's then putting in the graphic and telling you guys watching exactly what the betting is. It's all pretty amazing.
Tom, a non-believer here, feels like his jack high could be good and calling potentially with some devious intentions, but it doesn't matter as he drills off the 7 on the river and basically never folds now. He's going to contemplate betting for value. I feel like he could once Ray checks this turn, but wouldn't surprise to see a check back either. But not sure it's a turn that we can float and hit this river without value betting potentially. Tom's certainly more accomplished player than myself, just trying to bring the viewers in on the action, but unsure if this is a hand we'd like to check back after we've called the turn. Love this value bet from Tom.
6 bets, 450,000,
With these clubs bricking off for Ray, especially when we don't have a club in our hand, Ray could be a non-believer here in thinking Queen Eye is good. We've got some floats. A lot of those floats do contain a 7, but Ray's going to think this through. Queen High, heads up, could be good here after probing the turn. I feel like those eyes are saying call.
Yeah. No, he's put the time bank in.
The time bank's in. That's got us a couple of times over the...
He's not going to chuck it in like that. So the time bank again, if you haven't been watching the stream all the way through, we're on a 30-second clock, and the players get some time banks to extend their think time.
Let's have a think about what Ray's using these time banks for. 8, 9 of clubs that don't bet the flop, he's going to fold. But, I don't blame him there for having a really good think about what we can beat there versus Tom. A lot of those club draws that call the turn, we're ahead of literally all of them, bar those King X of clubs, and I'm not sure they bet the turn. They've got enough showdown value to check. So, we are in front of those middling club draws, and we unblock those really well with the 3 of diamonds and the Queen of diamonds in our hand. But don't blame Ray there for tanking, but good fold in the end.
And Jinxie, you're going to have some more recreational players watching this going, what would he even be thinking about? He's only got a Queen High. But, again, it changes when you're heads up. Good hands in heads up are very different to good hands when you're playing against the full table.
Well, look at what happened on the turn. Tom believed, he is floating with devious intentions potentially, but he also at times will believe that Jack High is good versus Ray. And once we river that pair, we have to bet for value. So, we did have a really big spot on that grind final table where tried to bring the viewers into Naman's mind, where he 3-bet the King Queen. Just tried to let the viewers know that in ICM a lot of the times we're using that hand as a bluff and it's not value. It's one of those hands there that Ray tanking there with the Queen High, just trying to bring the viewers in as to why, that time bank wasn't going to waste. He wasn't doing that on purpose for Hollywood. We do beat those middling club draws and some floats that Tom has there as well. So that's why that's why he's tanked. But we certainly have some interaction with this board here. Tom with top 2. It's a board we'd like to do a lot of raising on with, especially with this specific hand. Don't worry about that. But
and Ray's hit the bottom of it too. So
no way Ray's ever folding bottom pair heads up here. He can also improve. We know that he's basically drawing so thin. Especially with this specific card, I can see Tom going to a size where Ray's going to have to call nearly all of Tom's sizes that he chooses. Unsure what type of size Tom will pick here. One of the best players in Australia. He'll get this exactly right, but whatever size that is, I'm unsure if we'll see Ray fold the turn. We could have a really big hand here coming up.
That is a time bank again.
Tom needs a bit of extra time to choose the size. Such an important pot. I'd hazard a guess that is around half to 60%, maybe even bigger. Tom will know for sure what size to go here, but if we go half or 60%, really unsure if Ray can find a fold. Let's see what he comes with.
575.
Yeah, so closer to 2/3 pot here. Huge bet from Tom. Ray looking for a live towel. This is a huge hand. I can't see Ray folding. No. This is a massive river in the scheme of this tournament. This is a tournament-changing pot. If these hearts brick off and Tom goes for value on the river by jamming, maybe Ray will be a non-believer and call it off. Huge river coming up. This is all in nearly always for Tom Maguire, I feel. SBR is less than 1. It's going to put Ray to a massive decision. This is an all-in from Tom. Now, Ray, these hearts have bricked off. That's the most important part about this hand. Tom does have a lot of bluffs here. I feel like Ray might, my experience playing with Ray, you're going to look that he does have 4th pair here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ray put this in. He's asked for a count. You may be wondering why I feel like he's going to put this in. I've played against Ray a lot. These hearts have bricked off. He's always going to not believe Tom in these big ones. He's run into the relative nuts. Not really, but this is one of the best hands Tom's ever going to get to on the river. And that's why Ray's in the tank.
10 seconds.
And the way it was played too, there was already 2 million in the pot before.
Yeah, we had we had 2 million in the pot and the jams for 1.5.
Yeah. So, I mean,
if you are watching at home, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ray put this call in. Literally every single draw has bricked off. We just saw Tom check raise the Queen 4 of clubs on 10-3-3 with the club. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest to see Ray put this one in. I feel like using these time banks, he's a non-believer. What a run out for Tom to be able to get called here by 4th pair. Maybe Ray could be leaning. Fold, he's called. Yeah. He's put it in. He's put it in.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. And Tom knew. See, Tom flipped the cards over. He knew.
Well, he knows after the tank, 2 pairs always good, of course.
Yes.
He knew. The excitement there from Tom was basically now he's completely on top. That changes everything. I felt like I really had that gut intuitive feel that Ray was going to call that off after those hearts bricked out. Every single draw that Tom plays this way also bricked out. We don't have a heart in our hand either. Increases our opponent's chances of having those heart flush draws, and Tom sized that turn so well to be able to jam River for about 0.7 SBR, and Ray's put that in. Unbelievable. Like, you know, you're looking there and thinking that's fourth pair. What's he doing? But no, every draw's bricked off. And you know, I've got a lot of history with Ray. As soon as that jam came, I thought that could be going in. And Ray, just always the non-believer. That hand has changed everything.
And the first bit of emotion we've seen from Tom is, if you don't think this means a lot to him, it was all there. The way he flipped those cards over.
Haven't seen that from Tom. I haven't seen that from Tom. What a hand. What a hand. Chat. The chat's popping off.
And kudos to you, Jinxie, because I think for people that maybe don't know Ray as well as you, that is a fold. But you, as you said, you've played with him so much.
I just felt like that could be going in. Just a non-believer. I mean, you know, I know Ray's still working with 25 big blinds here, but Tom's one of the best players in the country. You know, he would have considered himself a favourite with a 2-to-1 chip disadvantage heads up, but that's all changed now.
And I was actually going to ask you about that. He was, you know, he had less than half the chips, and you were convinced, saying he still believes he's his favourite. And justified now with that huge turnaround. Huge turnaround.
I mean, if we're Ray, we can't not barrel this now. We cannot show down 3 high. We've got another big pot incoming here, I think. We've bet the turn. A lot of our turn probes here do contain a 6, which is the straight. We can't show down 3 high. I feel like Ray might go big here. And Tom's going to I mean, it depends on the size. But, you know, I feel like that Tom, especially with the way Ray plays, that it's going to be really hard. He does go big, 70-80% pot, it looks like. Tom's got to have a decision here. He snapped it off. He snapped it off. Good call. Tom is all over Ray at the moment. Geez, I feel like we could be concluding this tournament very shortly. The momentum swung completely. Ray left with 10 big blinds. Tom is on top. You know, I think if we are Ray, once we bet that turn, we have all the 6s, and we just can't show down 3 high. We know that, especially after probing that turn. Tom, never folding 2 pair there.
Well, he's gone 2 pair, 2 pair.
Yeah.
So strong in heads up play.
You know, I know there's a 4-liner on the board and Ray's gone bet, but we might have not a misdeal, but
yeah,
flip card.
Wants to flip over.
Doesn't matter, flipped up. All in.
So all in here. We haven't seen the
Snap
cards
call.
yet.
We don't
Snap
know what
call.
it is.
Ace-3 against pocket 6s.
This is it. The momentum has just swung Tom's way in the matter of 10 minutes.
You can see the percentages there. It's the Ace-3 hearts of Ray against the pocket 6s here of Tom. To win this, to win 45k up, Tom just needs his pair to hold up.
What an amazing call from Ray before with that 4th pair to give Tom this huge momentum swing. We predicted it would change everything, and within 4 hands, this tournament may be over. Unbelievable. What an unbelievable last 10 minutes of heads-up play. Ray flopped a flush draw.
2 hearts. It's never going to be easy.
Ray does have a flush draw.
king.
Add a gutter ball to that now.
Wow.
Ray's going to work. He's going to win this pot a third of the time, and he'll be back in it.
But it's not one of his outs.
Unbelievable.
That is it. Tom Maguire, 3 hands in a row, goes bang, 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 turns the whole final table, the whole tournament, the whole heads up around. He is our Goliath champion for 45K. That finished so quickly, didn't it?
Oh my God, that 10-7 hand where Ray floats there, not floats, calls with bottom pair, called that 70% bet on the turn. And called that jam on the river after those draws bricked off. It completely and utterly changed everything. And we think about how Tom slapped his 10-7 down on the river. Once Ray called, he knew that that was the tournament-changing hand that he needed. Propelled him back into the chip lead, and it was over 5 minutes later. Unbelievable. Tom, one of the best players in the country, played so well at this final table. You saw it for yourself. You know, he's booked his ticket to Vegas. He'll be off very shortly, and $45,000 in his pocket prior to leaving.
Yeah, it was a terrific final table. Started last night and then play today as well. We're going to leave you here as we try and focus in on the additional prizes. Of course, the beautiful Goliath glass trophy, the Drakakis Jewelers ring. But as you say, I think for Tom, it's about the cash, 45K.
Yep. But I don't know, I might have been wrong. The way that Tom was slamming those cards down when Ray called there with 4th pair, and when Ray moved all in and Tom slammed down those 6s, maybe the trophy means a lot more to Tom than I originally thought. We know that Tom is such an established professional and the money is what matters, but you know, when your head's up and the thrill of victory might have got to him there and it looked like he was really emotional and really wanted to win, God, he played unbelievable.
Didn't he? Well, we are going to find out. We're going to send you out, Jinxie, to talk with both players. We'll record those interviews and bring them to you later in the day. For the moment, we're going to take a break from the stream. We're going to be back later in the afternoon. Keep an eye on your socials. We'll give you the time of that with the 6 Max. That should be a lot of fun later tonight and going into, I'm sure, the early hours. Hope you've enjoyed us bringing you the Goliath final table. Congratulations to Tom. Incredibly well played, and to Ray as well. And we'll catch you guys on the other side.
See you then.